our feature presentation. Actually, very interesting. A few weeks ago, we covered a Stephen King remake of a movie that was adapted from a short story. I think Firestarter is a short story, right?
Oh, it's a novel. It's a
Novel,
novel.
novel. Okay, so we covered a remake of an adaptation of a novel.
Yeah.
This week, we're covering a remake of actually the third iteration of a Stephen King short story, Children of the Corn, uh,
Yeah.
2023. This is, well, the short story is about a group of kids, creepy kids, take over a town, and they're basically serving He Who Walks Behind the Rose.
They just call him He Who Walks in this
Yeah, and
one.
this one is He Who Walks. So
Yeah.
the short story, that's the basic premise to it. This
Yeah.
doesn't change much to it. Modernized a little bit. A lot
Right.
more mentions of corn and the economy.
Oh
And
my
that's super
goodness.
important in 2023. But yeah, he who walks is the new name of the
Yeah.
demon. And yeah, Children of the Corn. This is not that this is bad, but I would say this is one of Stephen King's less celebrated works. You don't hear about this one as much as some of the other.
No, yeah, it doesn't quite have the like the nostalgia that older Stephen King stuff does have. Although there have been some like and fantastic parodies. South Park famously
Oh
did
yeah.
did an incredibly great Children of the Corn. One of the better adaptations actually is Cartman in control. But yeah, it's kind of not a lauded story at all. So it's no wonder that it's kind of found its home in this like swamp of horror.
It's super interesting because we were talking about this. Like, it's not like Cujo or
Yeah.
Christine or It or Salem's Lot or anything like that. However, it was something when we were kids that I mean, there's people, bad kids were called Children of the Corn.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that there's bands who have sang songs that have mentioned the Children of the Corn in it. I thought it was like this crazy video nasty because I had never seen it because I didn't realize it. I never saw it because they never showed it because it just wasn't all that great. Like, I thought it
Right.
was so bad, so fucked up. That's why I didn't show it. But you're right. It's found its little home. The 84 movie led to a franchise, and then there was a sci-fi movie in 2009,
Right.
and now there's this version of it.
Yes.
So I guess my question to you, so Stephen King, I mean, he's reached rarefied air. It's no longer a question of if they're going to adapt one of it, it's
Oh,
when.
yeah.
And there's even adaptations of what he does. I mean, Stephen King is not a horror author. He's a mainstream cultural icon.
Yeah.
Um, do you think because he has such a catalog of movies, there's a lot of good, but there's a lot of shit in there too.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think anything will ever ruin his legacy? I mean, it happens to Johnny Depp, and this is before the drugs and Amber Heard and all that. Like, he was in all these great movies, and then he was in all these shitty movies.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Myers was at the top of the world before he did The Love Guru.
That's true.
I mean, do you think Stephen King that'll? Because I can't imagine anything, and I'm not talking scandal wise. I mean, I'm just talking work. I can't
Yeah.
imagine the dirt worst movies, and like, I don't think years of that can ruin him.
I don't know. I don't think so, man. I mean, some of his most popular works have like some like like a child gangbang, consensual child gangbang. Like he's already got the stuff that should cancel you in his work for decades, and it's not happening, and nobody's going back and look. I mean, authors. I mean, I think authors have this like leniency. Like I think if you're like editorialist or you're like a blogger or some like quote unquote journalist now, like you do not have the leniency, right? You are beholden to what you say at all times. But if you're a fiction writer, if you're like, nah, I fucking made that shit up, man, that's just fiction. Like you get this like it's like a stand-up comedian is supposed to be able to get away with saying anything, right? Same
Right,
concept. And I think Stephen King, you said it, Stephen King is no longer horror, like a part of horror. He's his own genre. He's his own unique thing. That is part of horror. He is, or you can't think of horror without thinking Stephen King. If you're a horror fan, you know who Stephen King is. So no, he's not going anywhere. And 100 years from now, when we're all dead and gone, Stephen King movies are still going to be being made. There's going to be Stephen King like authors. It's just not going away. If you really think about old Steve, it's kind of remarkable how what staying power his mind has. He has created thing after thing after thing that it may not even be good, and it still has these huge followings and projects and stuff associated with it. So no, I don't think Stephen King's going anywhere.
Yeah, he's gonna be Stephen King movies and Keith Richards. Maybe at the end of the world, that's
Exactly.
all that there will be. So
Look at a roach.
yeah, let's get into Children of the Corn here. Is this the worst Stephen King adaptation? There's some bad ones. And
No. This, sir, I enjoyed more than Pet Cemetery 2019 or whatever that was.
that's the first thing that I thought, and I know you're going to disagree with me. Second thing that I thought of was Dark Half, because I'm not a big fan.
Oh, that's right. You hate the Dark Half.
I'm not a big fan.
A lot of people hate Silver Bullet, and I love Silver Bullet.
I love Silver Bullet. Those people are dope.
Yeah, I agree.
Go watch Enys Men.
Yeah,
That's what I say to those people.
You film watching jerk. No, this movie so let's just get into it. So this movie sets up as with like a really bizarre scene with a kid walking out of the corn into a child's home and proceeds to murder adults, and then the adults gas the kids to knock them out with animal sedative, but they kill them all.
Yeah, and that's not a huge spoiler, but spoiler, we're going to talk
that
about
happens in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's no biggie. That's probably in the trailer too.
Yeah.
And this is a story from back in the 70s, so I mean, we're there's stuff we're going to talk about that. Sorry. I mean, it's decades old, but we won't ruin anything about this
exactly the end.
That's just in this movie, right? Yeah. But yeah, it's a very confusing scene, and
confusing
actually. Start. Like, to me at first I was like, did he kill the kids? Like, it took me a while to like wrap it around, because the editing in this movie just throughout, it's very bad.
Yeah, so this movie, it's funny, right? So we were talking about budget stuff. This movie does not feel that low budget. It really doesn't.
No,
it had a level of polish to it that I thought was good and nice, and I appreciated. But yeah, where this movie kind of has its seams kind of seen, editing's really weird. They introduce characters early on that you would, multiple times have opportunities and should play more of a role in the story, but don't. There's at least 100 mentions of corn
in one 15-minute scene.
It's one town hall scene.
Corn has never played a bigger role in Children of the Corn than in this version of it. And you're right, they set up sibling tension that goes nowhere, really. And the protagonist, Bo, she did a decent job, but it's Kate Moyer as like the psychotic Isaac type character. She steals the show, and that's unironic. Not that is a serious opinion. Like, she is excellent in this movie. Like, super. She goes beyond creepy kid. Like, really cool one-liners that go between like fucked up to just kind of corny. But that's cool. It works in this kind of movie. But man, there's a cast of, I don't know, 50, probably, maybe not that many, but
20, 25.
Yeah, 25, 30 in there. And aside from Eden, who's the psychotic kid, and the protagonist, Bo, the rest of the people are there to stand around and or yell. And that's it. Like, they have no defining qualities whatsoever. Well, except for the mom who sleeps around.
Oh, the horror mom, yeah.
Which is like the very, like, that's the bare bones description of her. That is just lazy writing.
But, I don't think they even show her face.
They show the back of her head, and one time her face is in shadow when she's in, like, when they so Bo, she's supposed to be our hero, her motivations are all over the map.
Oh my
And
god.
that's giving her that's assuming you are willing to say she has any motivation at all, because I have no idea what's going through her head at all.
Oh no, we were at first. So at first, we're introduced to her in the corn with her brother, and they're talking. She's like gonna go be a microbiologist or something,
Right.
corn
She's leaving.
biologist. Yeah, she's
Okay,
leaving.
she's going into corn studies.
Yeah, a corn sabbatical. Um, so and she's explaining to him how he should leave too, but he's like, oh shucks, I'm just out here in the corn. I can't get out of here. He didn't sound
Exactly
anything
like
like
that.
that. I'm just gonna shut corn. So so there is like you pass it, there's like this tension that they set up, and you think is like, oh man, so there's gonna be like this sibling rivalry, maybe because they're on two ends of the spectrum
Right.
of what should happen. And then there's like this big Monsanto, big farm aspect to this that plays a role for the town hall meeting that we mentioned. And yeah, but it really just it makes you think that all the people, which cool, it makes you think every adult in this town is just a fucking corn fucking loving hating motherfucker. Depends on who you talk
Right.
to.
Exactly.
And which is great because now we get Eden to fuck this place up. And as you said, she steals the show. um I thought she was so cool. She was rad. We, spoiler alert for this, Pat and I got to watch this together. This was super fun. And so I think as we watch this, we could not help but be on her side. Even, we're like, you're
I
you're
agree.
kind of you're kind of like, it's like the shark in Jaws too. It's like, nah, fuck all these kids. Let's have shark just go to town. Same with Eden. I wanted her being as and she's fucked up. She does some fucked up stuff. And I liked it. I liked her as silly as this movie actually is. She is awesome.
She's great, and they actually do a good job with Bo also, in that you
Oh
can you can get behind her. I just, we just happen to like Eden more, but I
yeah,
can see someone being like, oh yeah, she's gonna save the day. Like,
yeah.
Eden's done this and that, and she loves her town before she moves away. Uh, um, those two did a really good job. And yeah, Eden, I was absolutely rooting for her. Just I don't know how she got from point A to point B,
Yeah,
because that
she
really,
seemed normal at first, but yeah.
yeah, yeah. You would think she would be more traumatized, which would be a great backstory. But they just kind of just throw away thing like, yeah, I spent a week in the cornfields, and this is how I am now. But she also seems to be kind of listening to Bo a little bit. Like, it's kind of this weird thing. I mean, if you think at all, I don't. It's not even one of those cases if you think too hard. If you think at all about this movie, it's not like, because we were just watching and kind of, we were paying attention to it and all, but we're also talking throughout it, and
Yeah,
it made absolutely no sense to us at all.
no,
And it's
no.
not because we were missing any important plot points or anything. It's just a very poorly written movie.
It was super poorly written. The like you said, the editing, they actually jumped from scene to scene. In thinking about it today, I was like, man, they really kind of hopped around. Like there wasn't really like, okay, now they're in a car. Oh, they're out in the corn. Oh, wait, they're at the school hall. They're at a house. Now they're at the school hall again. Like everything was just like, it was so all over the place that it kind of like, I was, one of the things I like about like Stephen King stories is you kind of get a feel for, like, you can kind of picture like Derry in your head, right? Like
Yeah.
you can picture like, Castle Rock in a lot of ways. There's a lot of towns in Stephen King stories that you can easily picture. 1922, or that story, you can easily imagine how that this should have been as simple as can be. It's a small town in Nebraska with cornfields around it. And I still couldn't get a bearing on like where any of this was taking place, how far anything was from each other. If she was going to like cause destruction, was it going to be because they're going to destroy everything? I couldn't tell. So I found that like kind of like weird too. And part of that bad editing was that whole nature of the thing. But there's so much nonsense happening around that you hardly pay attention to that.
Yeah, it's because like it seems like that the town is run down and almost a ghost town, but they
Correct.
live in like very nice suburbs. So
Their
it's
houses are big and awesome, and yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a strange thing. Um, there's actually some pretty good gore in this.
Yeah,
There's a couple of scary, I mean, they're generic jump scare stuff, but there's
yeah.
some pretty scary stuff going on in here. I think the thing that it has, aside from the some strong performances, I think they got the pacing down really well. Now, yeah, story's not
Oh,
well written, it's erratic, editing is, all over the place or whatever, but
good
just
moves.
the pacing in and of itself, it's really, it does not slow down. It's just bang, bang,
Mhm.
bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, it only escalates, which is exactly what you want. And yeah, so yeah, so for the for the movie's faults, and it definitely has some glaring ones. Um, the sum of its parts really kind of make it. I just was super entertained by it. Like it's like the perfect, like people say, like the riff track kind of movie. It really is. It was such a fun time to like sit around, joke about it, make corn, puns and stuff. It was fun, man. It was fun.
The not gonna, like Blake said, we're not gonna say exactly what happens at the end, but
Sure.
it does leave room for more Children of the
Yeah.
Corn movies. So is this, are we gonna see another Children of the Corn franchise? Do you want to see more of these movies?
Dude, yes. Yeah, I do. So yeah, we cannot and will not spoil, but I like what where they left it. It's totally preposterous, and I could be in for another one. I don't think we're gonna get one, but I could be in for it. I could be in
Yeah, I don't see a Children of the Corn part two, but Children of the Corn coming to theaters on
for it.
March the 7th and then hitting streaming on March the 21st. So Children of the Corn 2023, see or no see?
Yeah, see it. See it. I am unapologetically all in on the corn. I mean, so this is only held up by the performance of one young Kate Moyer. Uh, kudos to her. Uh, you should watch Children of the Corn if you can.
This type of movie, Stephen King movies, like when they're really bad, you can usually say, if you're a Stephen King fan, then you have to watch this
Sure.
movie. In this case, if you're a Stephen King fan, then you don't have to watch this because it has, aside from the name and like roundabout premise, it has really nothing to do at all with Stephen King. And I mean, the premise is your basic Village of the Damned type thing anyway. So if though you're a horror fan and you just like perfectly acceptable crap, then like this is it. This is like it's nonsensical and it is flawed, but it is strangely entertaining. I would say definitely give it a shot.